only answer they give is more kama and more artha. Earn more money, buy a new car, buy the latest mobile which will keep changing after 3 months or 6 months. That will give you happiness. Advertisement seems to tell everybody who has got that mobile a big smile also they will have. Now, that is no answer. The understanding was kama and artha give satisfaction, but the answer to more satisfaction after a certain age is not more kama and more artha. The answer is dharma. I tell them, answer is simple. Instead of chasing more money and more houses and more cars, what you do is, you try to help others. Get engaged in some meaningful activity. It may not seem like fun at first, but actually when you start doing it, you will get peace of mind. One young person came to Swami Vivekananda and said that his problem was other way around. He said, I have shut the doors and windows of my room and I have tried to meditate, I am not getting any peace of mind, no happiness. Swami Vivekananda said, first open the doors and windows of your room. Come out into society, see people need help, and you help them, you will get satisfaction. So, happiness, movement from kama to artha to dharma, movement from pleasure to engagement to meaning in life, that movement must be there. Then only we will get deeper satisfaction in life, deeper happiness and satisfaction in life. But you will see that I have kept something in another bracket, moksha, the spiritual source of happiness, of satisfaction. What is it that makes Gandhiji say, I am a simple man in search of God? Not the leader of the nation. We have a very senior monk, Akamanandaji, who is more than 100 years old, 102 years old. So he tells us stories of how he saw Gandhiji. He was a little boy in Wardha, during the Wardha conference, and he was running around in the camp, Congress camp, and he suddenly went into one big tent where he saw Gandhiji was sitting there. And he said, has clear memory, such a saintly face. He said, I walked in and Gandhiji looked at me, a young boy, and he did like this. And he said, I was so shy. Modern kids are not so shy, but he was so shy. He said, I quickly ran away from that tent. Now, what gives joy to Gandhiji when he says, I am a simple man in search of God? What gives joy to that old monk, Mokshadanandaji, his name is Ram Maharaj, when he says, a whole life scholarship I have forgotten, I don't need it. Joy is within. The purpose has been served by that scholarship. What source of joy is that? What is that undiminishing, undecaying, internal source of joy where you don't depend on anything of the world for happiness? That was the great discovery of our forefathers, of our rishis, of our sages, and that is our heritage. That we will explore in detail tomorrow. Tomorrow also we have a talk on this subject, so I will go in more detail into that subject. For today in the evening, not today in the evening, okay. Oh, 7 to 8, fine. Today in the evening, so we will continue it. Today in the evening we can take up this subject. Do we have questions? Do we have time?
Yes. Specific question, Maharaji.
Yes, there's a question.
The problem of sprinting the marathon.
Yes.
What is it that we can miss? Shall we take a PEM or let us take PEM or we say we forget P and then go to E and M?
Yes.
Or forget M and have only P and E?
Right.
When we sprint the marathon.
The question is, good question, when you are in the marathon, so what should be our focus? P, E or M or which one? Remember one thing about the rat race. The marathon is the rat race, they call it the rat race. If you win in the rat race, you're still a rat. That is why these ideas, generally I don't quickly give to young people. They need to chase some success in life first, get some experience in life, then all these things will be little helpful. So that young boy who said, I'll be happy if I get a multinational job and a car and an apartment and a wife and kids, that's my aim in life. To him, if you say meaning in life and then spirituality, no meaning at all. It has to be experienced first. And the learning from this is, whatever you are doing, whichever position in life you are, the focus, the weight, the internal center of gravity should shift from pleasure and engagement. If you are engaged in life, you are not very much concerned with pleasure. You don't have the time or the opportunity. That may be just peripheral to your concerns. But the focus should shift from engagement to meaning. Even in corporate circles, I have seen great leaders, they make the shift from engagement to meaning. One industrialist told me that when I started this work, building up the industry, my aim was to succeed, to build up a multi-billion-dollar industry. This is in the steel industry. Now, at the age of 60 plus, he says, my real concern is that several thousand people are working in my company. What can I do for them? That is my concern. Not so much what is the turnover. I know something will be there. Economic upturn and downturn, many factors are involved. So that is no longer my concern. In a simple process of maturity, one normally moves from E to M. So find engagement, but more importantly, find meaning in life. Which activities, in your job, outside your job, in the community, what gives meaning in life? What gives you satisfaction? The clue, one clue which we get is, it involves others. It involves doing something for others. It involves a little bit of sacrifice. Even sacrifice, if a child's mentality is, I have got so many chocolates, if I give one to others, it is less, one less for me. If I give money to others, he feels so much money less for me or family. But that is called the poverty mentality. The opposite is the prosperity mentality. If I have got so much money, it is a power which I have got to help others. It is my power. That money which I have got, the knowledge which I have got, the time which I have got, the energy which I have got, is a power which I have got by which I can do something for others. That's the prosperity mentality. It does not matter how much money you have got. When we are talking about corruption, one monk who is an American, he told me it's not restricted to India. He said, I know my elder brother works in this foreign service, the diplomatic corps. He was telling me, in one European country, the American ambassador to that country, imagine, American ambassador appointed by Bush, very senior man. When he was transferred from that country back to USA, he took everything from the embassy, including curtains. And the worst part is, he's a multi-millionaire. He gave so much money to Bush for the campaign contribution, that's why Bush rewarded him with an ambassadorship. But still the grasping mentality is there so much, when he's leaving the embassy, not his property. He took everything, this is including wine bottles which had been opened, that also he put the cap on and he took it away. That is a poverty mentality. So one moves from engagement to meaning, a prosperity mentality where one gives, one feels by giving, one feels enriched. And it just takes a little bit of effort. Once you start, once you get the taste of it, you will feel like going on doing it more and more.
There are 2 points. One is you are taught in Geography.
I taught in Geography, yes.
Because the first correspondent Swamiji Vedananda Ji was from Geography.
Oh, I see.
Princess. Because I had the good fortune of coming in contact with him.
Mic.
Vedananda Ji, first correspondent, was teaching in Geography. What has come. And then you mentioned about Swami Jagadatmananda Ji. He is a senior monk in Pannapet. I am very close to him.
Yes.
He became an instrument, built a new temple, in spite of the fact that he had cancer problem. He is still there. And of course, as you know, he has got the 2 books, Bhadukalu Kaliyari, which has more than 3 lakh copies have been sold. That's one thing. And about your meaningful life, I think it's what you say is perfectly right. Because I was working in a multinational company. Just before I retired, the chairman of the company said, we are going to start a Cook Foundation for the welfare of the people in society. And he said all these 35 years he worked for this company. You were getting salary, but now you will be working for the society that will bring you more joy and satisfaction than all the 35 years you worked earning money. It's absolutely true.
That is true. In fact, the BSS which you have got here, I am sure those alumni who are involved in the VSS, it takes time and effort and money and everything, but the satisfaction which you get, you don't regret it. That you always feel that is something worthwhile I have done.
And it's a fact that, as you also, of course, I don't want to repeat, you know it, because it's Swami Vivekananda who wrote to the Maharaja of Mysore saying that they alone live, who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive.
Correct.
Thank you so much. It's a very interesting and enlightening thing.
You're welcome.
Swamiji, you brought across from a Western advanced perspective psychology. Although it does reflect a nice evolution to move from pleasure to engagement to obtaining engagement. If we look back at our cultures and our scriptures, in fact, as you mentioned, it starts from Dharma and Kama. So the place where we begin is like you go for Dharma, and to satisfy that or to achieve that Dharma, whatever position you need to attain in society. So that's the Artha. And then comes the pleasure, that is you have to enjoy your work, so you have to get the pleasure out of it.
Yes.
So still, do you think, in terms of evolution, whatever is the Western evolution, they still have to reach a stage, and beyond that stage, they will also come, in the way of our scriptures.
Western society.
Yeah.
Yes.
Start with first Dharma, and that is the basic thing. Do you think?
True. Many of you have long experience working in the West and traveling to the West and all. I think this impression is correct that they have tremendous advantages, but they also are a maturing civilization, not yet mature in many ways. They are moving forward. They have great advantages. The scientific approach, the approach they have taken is a very logically argued, based on data, very solid approach they have taken. Though they are coming to the similar understanding. Now, yesterday I shared with you some of my experiences with yoga teachers from different countries, 16 countries, and I saw how much interest they have in spiritual life, in Indian spirituality. They are coming to a certain maturity. We already have that. Only thing Swami Vivekananda said was, because of long periods of poverty and oppression in our country, people have not enjoyed material pleasure and satisfaction for a long time. So we must go through that experience again. But very quickly, one thing I've seen among Indians is that even in the West, especially those who went to the West, they went there in search of a better life, a more prosperous life, more successful life. Now they found it there. After finding it, they quickly start searching for meaning, and their Indian heritage comes to their rescue immediately. So they very quickly become interested in spirituality, yoga, meditation, in religion. You see the number of Hindu temples which have been built by Indian community in the West. The moment they establish themselves, Indians quickly turn to religion and spirituality, very quickly. This is because it is in our blood, in our genes. There is one question, two questions. One question, yes? Please, yes. You can just pass it.
Swamiji, actually, there is a small instance in Mahabharata where three of them, Yudhishthira, Bhima and Arjuna, these three have a debate. And in the debate, which is more superior? Is it Dharma which is more superior, or which is Artha more superior, or Kama more superior? Yudhishthira actually, he basically a follower of Dharma. He says Dharma is more superior because if you want to find a meaning in life, you have to do good things. So Dharma is more superior than Artha and Kama. Whereas Arjuna, who is basically an economist, based on his subject, what he says is, no, Artha is more superior. The reason is, to do Dharma, you need money. And to gain money, actually, you have to first find money and then move towards Dharma. So Artha is more superior than Dharma. Then Bhimasena, he says, no, both are then superior. Kama is more superior. Why Kama is more superior? Kama is more superior because to gain money or to do Dharma, you first need to have a desire to Dharma, a desire to gain money. So this is more superior. So three of them will have a major confliction, which is best, and it comes to a tie. The debate comes to a tie.
Oh, that's a very interesting story.
So they go to Lord Krishna and ask, which is more superior, is it Dharma, Artha or Kama? And Krishna says, what Bhimasena said was exactly correct. Kama is more superior. The reason is, whenever a person who is living, who is having conscious, means he is having some desire. At least he is having a desire that to live. Without desire, a person is just in a coma stage. So desire is a main thing to do dharma. So the Kama is more superior. This is a debate which happens. I need your view on this.
Here you can see clearly. If you look at this board, what you will see is meaning, engagement, pleasure, and you can match it to dharma, artha, and kama. But on this side of the equation, happiness. What is the source for all of this? Happiness. It is the desire for happiness. So that's where Sri Krishna, in fact, what he means is, all of us want happiness. Now the question is, where do we get happiness? Is it by satisfying kama, desire for pleasures? Not much. For artha, little more happiness you get, and for dharma, much more happiness you get. But one more point I will make and end it here, because we have almost run out of time. Just I will make a point here about the law of karma. You see, this one thing that we accept in India, in all Indian religions, not only Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism and Sikhism also, that the law goes like this: action and reaction, cause and effect. So what we do has an effect. Whatever effects that we are getting in life has got some cause. The law goes like this: dharma means moral actions. Dharmic actions lead to punya, merit, and punya gives rise to sukha, happiness. Adharmic actions, immoral actions, give rise to papam, and the result of papa is dukkha. So the equation goes like this: dharma, punya, sukha; adharma, papa, dukkha. This is the law of karma. So the understanding was, if I do moral actions, good actions, I will get good things in life. I will be happy in life. If I do sinful actions against law, against religion, against morality, then I will get papa and I will get dukkha in life. So you can see the connection between dharma and sukha. Now sukha consists of, you get artha and kama. Person is very wealthy, very enjoying life a lot. He says he is a punyatma. He got a lot of punya in his past life, so he is enjoying life now. Person is suffering. Somebody says, oh, must be a papi in past life. That's why he is getting his dukkha. And people are unfortunately losing simple faith in this law of karma. One Swami in the Himalayas, he told me the difference. He said, earlier, even just 100 years ago, in a village, somebody was asked to go and give a false witness in a court, that you tell a lie on behalf of some rich man and you give some bribe. And that man said, I cannot do it because I have a family. It will be adharma, I will get papa, and dukkha is there in my life and my family's life. Dukkha will be there because of papa. So I cannot take the bribe and tell a lie. And that man was telling me, now if you go and tell that person, you tell a person, you give you money, you tell a lie in court, he says, yes, I have to do that. What can I do? I have a family. That money I will take and spend for the family. What is the difference? Difference is belief in the law of karma and loss of belief in the law of karma. That person believes that the result will not be good finally if I do something wrong now. This person says, what will happen in the future, I don't know, right now I will get cash. So, there is a connection between dharma and happiness. Ultimately, a connection between dharma and happiness. We will conclude now, we run out of time. Thank you very much.
Many of the participants and others who came to know that your Swamiji would be with us during this retreat. First question they asked us is he coming all the way for just one lecture? But Adhyaksha Maharaj made sure that he will be with us for more than one slot. We are all delighted to know that he will be with us again this evening at 7 o'clock. I think we are all happy about it. Pranam.